Hello, I'm Carol Heimowitz for the Business Insight Journal Report, and I'm here with Anil Gupta, business professor at Robert H. Smith School of Business at the University of Maryland. Thanks for joining us. We're talking about how companies eager to do business in China and India can develop demand for their products. Anil, what's the first step companies need to develop in these markets?
I think the first step companies need to do is to identify a segment of the market where they can get early traction, where they can build local presence, local operations, and local capabilities without losing their shirt. As an example, if I take Weyerhaeuser, the paper company, when they entered China, what they did in the first steps was to target the packaging market for cardboard rather than newsprint market for the media. The packaging market enabled them to serve multinational customers such as Johnson & Johnson and Procter & Gamble, easy entry, easy selling, low risks, as compared to if they had gone for newsprint, they would be targeting the state-run media as their customers, which would be much more challenging.
China and India are vastly different. What are the most important things companies need to know about market development in China?
I think some of the things that are unique about China, particularly different from India, is the significantly more developed retail sector. So they have, for instance, thousands of retail stores that are owned and operated by large chains. And that makes entry by foreign companies in the consumer product business significantly easier. Of course, you have to get access to those retail chains, but otherwise it's easier. Second, China has a vastly larger internet penetration than India does at 140 million relative to 40 million in India. So therefore, to the extent that your products can be advertised online, that's an advantage for China. Third is that China is brutally competitive for virtually every product or service, and companies need to be aware of that they will face this competition from imitators as well as non-imitators alike.
Can you share one or two examples of companies that have been successful developing markets in China and India?
In China, I would pick SAB Miller, the parent company of Miller Brewing, as a perfect example. What SAB has done are three things that are different from other beer companies. They picked a partner, China Resource Enterprises, a state-owned conglomerate that did not compete with them in the beer business. Second, along with their partner, they targeted the much larger mass market rather than the smaller premium beer market. Third, what they did was, instead of plunking down hundreds of millions of dollars in brand new breweries, they acquired fairly cheaply and turned around state-owned enterprises. So it reduced their costs, it reduced their investment, it gave them exposure to a much larger market. Looking at India, I would identify Unilever as a great example. They've been there for 100 years, but particularly what they have done very, very well is to build a sales and distribution system that penetrates the far remote corners of the rural markets, and they have designed package sizes for their detergents and shampoos where the individual package sizes are small enough and priced low enough that their products are aligned with the buying power of the rural population. Gives them exposure to a much larger market.
Do you see more room for companies that are first moving into India and China?
Yes, indeed. I see India and China as, in fact, still, despite all the growth, as at the baby stage of the development. Just over the next 10 to 15 years, the size of each of these markets will be about 3 to 4 times larger than it is right now. So it's almost like the internet. It's never too late to jump into the future.
Professor Anil Gupta, thanks for joining us. I'm Carol Heimowitz for the Business Insight Journal Report.